Robby Bobby. Let's see. Am I on right?
What's happening, boss man?
Oh, you can hear me. How are you, man?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, hey, I was
I was
watching
pressing the wrong button.
Oh, well, I didn't know if because I had it hooked up wrong the other day.
Uh-oh.
So I was watching some Steve. I'm still on my WCW kick. I was watching some Steve Austin and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Well, that was a good one. That was a fun one to watch.
Man, I guess they got a series of them, man, because I love watching these WCW ones. I saw big curly hair Garvin. Who's that? Jimmy Garvin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jimmy Jack Garvin.
Yeah, Jimmy Jack. Hey, man. Oh my
Jimmy
God.
Jam.
Yeah, Jimmy Jam.
I was watching.
No, Joey. Check out the first Nitro. It opens with Brian and Jushin Thunder Liger.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that one.
That is an amazing match, and you should also go back. Everybody should go back to like the 1992 match where they wrestled for the first time, and that is also an amazing match as well.
I want to say, I don't know if it was that first match, but definitely Flying Brian was probably one of the first guys that I've seen do a springboard. I think it might have been 1989. That was just the first I seen it, but I'm pretty sure probably was done before that. Every time you yeah, right. But yeah, I remember those first WCW Nitro. Mike Enos. I always liked Mike Enos for some reason. I have no clue. He was the one that was in the match when Scott Hall came down in his denim getup.
No, funny story, Joey. I was at that In Your House in Omaha, which was the last pay-per-view for Scott and Kevin before they left as well. And that's the pay-per-view that was right after Shawn wins the title at WrestleMania. So, like, that's crazy. The timing when those guys left.
That's funny. I went to the I think I went to the Raw after Michaels won at Mania. I'm almost certain. I think Mankind debuted at that Raw, and I was kind of blown away because that's when they were doing all 4 tapings for the whole month. So we kind of knew we knew all the outcomes. I mean, we would read the Observer already, but here we already knew exactly the outcomes, how it went down. I remember me and Supreme with a couple other buddies, we got 5th row tickets for Monday Night Raw after Mania. I think there were $15 tickets too, man, for 5th row for after Mania. And I remember Vader was wrestling, and we knew him from WCW, so we kept chanting moonsault, 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 and he was wrestling Fatu Rikishi, and man, he was going up for his Vader bomb, and we kept cheering. We're looking right at his face. We're cheering moonsault. We were so marked, man, really so marked out, and we're just chanting moonsault. And he's there for it looks like 30 seconds, just thinking about it. And he kind of looks back at Rikishi, and he kind of gives him what we call the Iggy, kind of gives him the whatever. We're gonna do it. And he went to the top, did a moonsault, and then when 3 weeks later when they aired it, Jim Cornette was like, "We got a new move that we're gonna unveil." And so actually it was we were chanting, they had the chanting of the moonsault on Monday Night Raw, but he just went straight up. He didn't actually sit there for a minute changing his spot on Rikishi to do the moonsault. But I always remember that and I always try to look at that as a wrestler, like that's how, like when you look at a kid or look at even any fan in wrestling and you kind of give them, you make eye contact, you do your taunt to them. And I remember Booker T doing this one time, and we all geeked out, and we were already wrestling XPW at the time. But I mean, it's so important to kind of go to shows too. Like I've kind of fallen off on going to shows, but like if you're a fan, man, or if you're a wrestler, you still want to try to find that opportunity to go to shows, so that way you really know the magic that's being built inside that ring. You know, when Vader goes to the top rope and moonsaults, man, we marked out. And I'm telling you guys, 25 years later, this must have been 95, 96 or something like that. But it's just so important. It should also give you an idea how important it is, not just the spots, getting your spots down with your opponent, but it's so important to connect with that crowd, right? We always talk about connecting with that crowd, but man, really just making eye contact, connecting with them, doing your taunt towards them, it's gonna go a long way. And it really does. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys should have some stories about that. Like that, at least for me, that's like the connection that you make and say, man, this is something that I want to do in pro wrestling.
It was like a lot of fun parts of those matches. Like when we would do, like those paid gigs that we'd do, and we'd bring the whole setup and we just have matches. And, the crowd's into it, but then I look to the crowd and I'm like, man, I'm just going to play with them. What do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to see? Yeah. And they're like, powerbomb. I'm like, already? Man. I'm like, how about a suplex? A superplex. I'm like, how about a suplex? We'll try that later.
But that's where the magic starts.
I would love to know about like when Ruby wrestled with Tommy, stuff like that, like stuff like that.
Who Tommy who did Ruby wrestle?
She tagged with Tommy Dreamer at Bar, and I'd love to hear about that because that was a great night in the building anyway.
Man, there are just so many I guess great moments that we also want to build on. I was watching, that's what I kind of like about this WCW Saturday night. It totally, I've never talked to anyone that's worked there. I should ask around. But it totally looks like they're going in there and just working. They call the finish and it's just work rate. I was watching the Steve Austin versus Dragon Steamboat, man, and he was going for, Steamboat had his ribs wrapped, and it was just Steve Austin got out of the move and just tried to stomp, and Steamboat rolled, stomp again, and he missed, and he rolled again and got away, and they're trying to show that he's trying to injure the ribs, and I mean, man, I want to believe they really just go in there and just really work it and do it, especially probably someone like Steve Austin. Because he does frequently talk about grabbing a hold and calling the spot, but also watching that WCW, Rob, man, I watched some Vader. Jesus Christ, Vader was not a nice guy, man. He would beat the shit out of you. I remember stories, and I don't know if these stories are true. This is when I was wrestling in the mid '90s. You hear stories that guys would come in, because I used to wrestle with guys like Augie's a guy who brought in actually Brody, and Augie used to do job matches for WWF. A guy like Jack Studd, he's been around. Bill Jack Studd has been around the dojo, and he's got matches with a lot of guys. I want to say even Benoit, and then Bill Anderson, our buddy Bill Anderson's pretty much wrestled the who's who of '80s wrestling. But I'd like to ask to see how the work rate was in WCW Saturday night, just to it just really looked like they went out there and just kind of called the finish and worked on it. And it's a lot about what we talk about, like when we're breaking down a match and stuff like that. So I think you guys should just definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's a different flavor of wrestling, and it looks like it's different type of work rate. Calling spots and calling your match in the back, that's definitely a work rate. But actually, like Robby was talking about, listening to the crowd is so important, because it really makes that connection. I think that's all it's about, and that's why I always say, then we go in there and do all these spots because of all the because we love it, because we love the technical difficulty of this spot, and that's gonna pop us, but necessarily sometimes it doesn't pop the crowd, and sometimes we'll do some really cool shit and people are like sitting on their hands, and that's where it's just really engaging with that crowd, and it really makes a difference. But Robby, I was telling about watching Vader. Man, he would beat the shit out of guys. They would talk. Okay, here's the story I was trying to tell about. Was they would put someone's name on the board. It'd be like Vader versus Joey Kaos, and I'd be like, fuck that shit. Yeah, I'm going. See, exactly what Robby said was, I'm going home, because there's stories that guys would see their name on the board against Vader, and they would be like, yeah, hey, where did this guy go? I don't know. I took off. All right, well, put somebody else in there. But I gotta be honest, man. I love wrestling safe. 100%, right? Wrestling safe, but man, I want to, since the wrestler in me, don't be a punk about it. Like, take those Vader punches, that's kind of like when we talk about kayfabe, really deep kayfabe, really 80s, 70s kayfabe. man, it's really about like, man, busting people up. You hear about the plane crash that they had, and there was a faces and heels in the plane, and they didn't want to get in trouble, so the faces went to the hospitals, and the heels went to a different hospital. But that's just how important kayfabe was, and so I think it goes also so deep as into the wrestling. Like if I'm gonna hit you, Rob, I mean, Rob and I know, hey, we're gonna eat a little bit, and that's why we say pro wrestlers are tough because, right? How many times, Rob, have you eaten it in the wrestling ring with me? Just bam, and I'm like, oh man, my bad. Like I didn't mean to do it, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens, man. Well, the story is that one time when we were out on tour, and when we were doing the punching stage spot in front of the crowd, and I ate like 3 of them in a row, and I was like, oh, he gives me one more, I'm gonna get him. And you came back excited, and you caught me one in the jaw. So I caught you back, and you're like, hey, lighten up. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah. Hey, that's why I always say there's no problem in telling someone to lighten up, man. For one, hey, lighten up, and they hit you harder. Okay, well, that's gonna tell me this guy is an asshole right now, and now I gotta fight for my life. Like I'm not gonna be a greenhorn and just sit there and take this shit. And you shouldn't, right? You take the 1 chop, you take the 2 chop, the 3 and the 4th chop. That guy is just taking liberties on you.
Yeah.
Same thing goes with anything else. Like Rob said, he gets smashed. Well, that's by me, but same thing. He's gonna receipt me right back. And honestly, even if I don't say anything, I go, oh, okay, and I will lighten up 100%. That's without even communicating. Physically communicating. I also saw Steiner Brothers versus some jobbers. I want to say it was Buddy Landell was one of them. He was the known guy. And then the other guy that took the Frankensteiner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You guys, I mean, if you haven't seen, I think everyone's seen it because I used to watch WCW Saturday Night. But, man, if you have not seen Scott Steiner do the Frankensteiner, look him up with black hair. It's the Steiner Brothers. And he nails that it looks devastating, man. It is like when we do it today, it looks nice and a little roll and the guy rolls and all this. Man, when Scott Steiner does it, it's like a fucking pile driver. I've seen him do it to this jobber that I just watched it on. And then he used to always do it to Booker T. And really it was all about timing. And I think, man, people, I think that it's like kind of like the Canadian Destroyer, right? It looks very devastating. Looks like it should hurt you. I'm pretty sure some of those do. But for the most part, it's like a poison rana also, where it looks devastating, but it protects you. You're bracing in, you're closing up your neck, you're holding onto the thighs. So that Frankensteiner that Scott Steiner does, it's just so incredible. And it's a lot of times, like, it always reminds me of, like, when I would talk to Eli, and I would say, man, when you do the moves, you do them, and that's cool. And I would tell him when we were on tour, and I'd say, but, man, you got to, like, fucking go for it, man. Don't just, like, rely that I'm going to catch you. Like, you fucking hit me with this fucking Frankensteiner, the springboard Frankensteiner that he would do. And I would say, like, don't, like, make it look like I'm helping you, man. Hit me with this move. Like, it's so important to hit you with the move. So it goes back to, I'd rather eat something. I'd rather eat a moonsault where you come flying right down on me. I'd rather eat your Frankensteiner and make it look incredibly great. That's the mid-90s in me, I think, though, like really trying to keep that kayfabe going. But I'd rather eat that move. So important to make it look better, because, we're working so hard in pro wrestling. We're putting so much into it. And at the end of the day, I want it to look, man, fantastic, and I watching Scott Steiner, it just really reminds me of, like, that just kind of that era of kayfabe where you hit moves a little harder, obviously you want to do it in safe places. I think honestly, like right now, like 2020, it's totally a show, right? It's totally a show. It's entertainment. But there's definitely a room for that genre of that kayfabe type of, what Regal says is like hitting people really hard in safe places, so I think that's pretty important in pro wrestling to really make it real. It brings out real emotions. But yeah, I would definitely check those out. I really enjoyed the Steve Austin and the Steamboat. but man, I really enjoyed the Vader and the Scott Steiner. Just because they fucking went for it, man. I would just, man, like, fucking don't be a punk about it in wrestling. And then that's where he says, hey, wrestlers are tough. Like, how do you do this? Like, we could say it's predetermined all day and all night, but how do you do this? Fuck. I saw Cody Rhodes and Jungle Boy last night, like, go to the top rope and then crash through the fucking table, and it looked gnarly. And then actually, you know, Cody Rhodes, I think he should have sold longer. I think he was thinking of TV time because he popped right up, went in the ring, they went to the finish. That might have been some TV time thing. But man, how do you, I feel like I'm Jim Ross. How do you fake that, folks? They both went from the top rope and crashed through this fucking table. And I would have said, I told Silly, I said, man, it probably would have been nicer if they would have like did some kind of suplex move, but they just kind of grabbed each other and they went kind of like New Jack and Vic Grimes. And it looked nasty. And I was like, man, this motherfucker jumped right up. Looked like he didn't, you know, that's the toughness in wrestlers jumping back up, right? People say, oh, you should have sold longer or whatever. You know, I think they were on TV crunch, to be honest, TV time crunch. But man, right? How do you fucking do that, Cody and Jungle Boy? Fuck, dude. You can't teach that. They're just, wrestlers are fucking tough. That's it. That's fucking it. It's everything that we do in the ring. So I always, you know, I take a different aspect when people ask about is wrestling fake or not, and I have no problem telling people it's predetermined. But wrestlers are extremely tough, you know. So I think that's why I try to walk that fine line of, you know, it's an entertainment, it's a show, but also my, you know, mid-90s traditions that I grew up in, trying to keep that, and that's where wrestlers come in. So, but yeah, I was watching that, and man, they just drove right through that fucking table, and maybe that's the 42-year-old guy in me. I don't know. Robby would probably fucking do it. I don't know, man. I would have to lay there for at least 10 minutes. Yeah, while you guys, or Robby and somebody else goes in the ring and does a couple of spots.
I'm not popping up real fast after that. I'm rolling to the ring.
I think it was TV time because it looked like he just jumped right up. And I was like, what's going on? It was maybe 4 or 5 minutes before the end, but that's got to be nerve-wracking, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get cut off the
air. You got to get your spot in, and then you still got to get your time.
Yeah, because that's what we talk about, right? Like, I think we've cut off wrestling matches, training matches when we said, hey, it's 10 minutes, and they go 10 minutes, 18 seconds. So we didn't see the finish, you know, got cut off.
Yeah.
I mean, remember that? Do you remember that WCW pay-per-view that happened?
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know, Goldberg or Sting or somebody in the main event. They cut it off. Just ran out of time.
Starcade.
Was that Starcade? Who was in it, man? Hey, let me ask you something.
That's it. It was Sting and Goldberg.
Let me ask you something, Pete. Is that why they call you the encyclopedia?
Yes, sir.
This man knows.
Joey, I'm just a little bit younger. I'm only a couple of years younger than you, so this was all of the. I remember watching this. You know,
okay.
This is my baseline for wrestling.
Nice, man. You are the encyclopedia. All right, let's see who's here. Hello, Pete. Hello, Dane. How are you? Mr. Hyde, how you doing? Milo stepped away. Max Moses, how you doing? Ruby Reyes is in the house. How are you? Ray Romero Jr. still on the bus, huh? We got Charlie Woos here. How are you? Oh, man. Yeah, Ray Romero's got his fucking shirt on. Referee John Nelson, good seeing you today. Birdman's back. Good seeing Birdman. Alec, have you been here with us before? Yeah, okay. All right. Lindsay's back. All right. Let's see. Lindsay. Looks like I have 2 Lindsays here. All right. Artorias is here. How are you doing, Artorias? Who else is here? Cam Gates is here. Dom Kubrick is in the house. AC7. Mondo is here, and I think that's it. All right, Milo is here. She's got her cookies. All right, those are my favorite cookies. Those Milano cookies. Those are the ones. So, all right. But I'm a cookie monster, to be honest with you. You have any cookies around, and I'll eat them all. So, everybody's been working out. So. Pushing hard, though, holding yourself accountable. Yeah. Okay. So let's do it. I'm telling you, get those elevation masks. I mean, you know, I don't know. looking in the COVID world, I do see numbers are going up, but I think it's like even in Los Angeles, like numbers they say are skyrocketing. But I think the mortality rate, I don't know, is 0.02, maybe something like that. So I don't know. Regardless, it's about 4 times at this point right now, without the season of COVID being over. It's about 4 times worse from the numbers than the flu. So whatever that is, I don't know. I think I see a lot more people willing and ready to take calculated risk, whether it be training with elevation mask, doing the thermal check, stuff like that. Thermal checks are a little, you can be asymptomatic, stuff like that. But I guess it's peace of mind, makes you feel a little bit better. And then, really just how you feeling, I guess, if we had tests, that would be a lot better, right? If we had a vaccine, that'd be better. Maybe there's going to be some type of herd immunity, or maybe what the truth is, they're going to say, hey, everybody in Los Angeles has already have it, or X amount of people have already had it, and so maybe the mortality rate isn't as bad as we think. So I don't know, but only time will tell. Like I told you guys last week, we're really just going to be monitoring the situation. I was telling everybody, Rob, about like, hey, when are we going to open up? Some schools are opening up and whatnot. I told them at this point, I want to look at somewhere about 60 days to see how everybody's doing, see how everything's going. Obviously, I'm rooting for everything to be, hey, everything looks good, man. Everybody's ready to come back, and I think we're going to be coming back, if that happens still in this COVID world. So, we'll see what happens. I've never been through this type of pandemic where it's reached us. I mean, you hear about pandemics and you turn the channel on the news and you put something else on, but this is different. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It totally feels like COVID's gone. But my biggest concern is we close the whole world down, so I want to give it, some time, 6 months, let's see how 6 months looks. Maybe we'll find out more about it. So that's just my biggest concern. And then the biggest thing, what I was telling them, Rob, is just, since we have so many people always doing so many classes, the biggest thing is just liability where it comes in. If we have so many classes coming in, man, that's a lot of new people nobody knows. And I think that's where the part gets a little bit scarier, so. But we'll see, we're kind of on our time frame to see how everything goes. We're at this point, we'd be less than 60 days. And we'll go from there. So that was the update that I gave everybody about kind of reopening and stuff like that. I wanted to fill you in, Rob. So, all right. So I want to kind of see if we can finish up these goals. And if not, today will be the last day. And then whoever I didn't get, I'll catch you guys on maybe a single thing. And then we'll kind of move on some different subjects. There's even like the bleeding subject. I think that could be done. I don't think any of you guys should bleed in wrestling, but I think we all get into wrestling and we want to do these things that we saw people do when we grew up. So, and plus, how the fuck you going to be a wrestler and someone's going to say, hey, about that blood shit, how does that work? And you have no fucking clue. So at least there's that aspect of it where I want to teach you how it's done and see it, and then maybe Rob will cut his head right in front of us. Maybe Rob's like, yeah, he's like, fuck you. But that's when my.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah, right. You remember Supreme used to do that. He used to make the blade and then just cut himself. Yeah, we used to watch that 2020. We're at the 2020 special with John Stossel, right? And had the guy, and he did that. He cut his head, and he kind of just stood there like a G, And so that's what Lester saw. So he'd always do that, and it would just be bloody, and everyone would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So, but yeah, so I think I've done it once for everybody. So I'll have all the stuff and we'll bring it in and we'll do some of that. We have other subjects, pro wrestling tips, things that we could talk about, and so on and so forth. So, excuse me. All right. So let's go ahead and see here, Rob, who do I have left? I might only have a couple. Maybe Alec? I don't think I've talked to Alec. Or
No, I did last time when we had Brody, but I didn't do
Right.
like I missed the last like week, I think, week and a
Okay.
half.
Yeah, so I haven't talked to you, and I think I don't know. We'll see. Speak up if I've missed you. Maybe Dane. Have we talked to Dane? Have we talked to you, Dane?
Cam Gates.
Cam Gates. Is he still in the house? Yeah, he is still here. Okay. Cam Gates. All right. All right. So let's go ahead and say let's go ahead and start with Mr. Alec, since we already have you on the line, Alec. So what we've been going over the last couple of weeks, to be honest, now I thought it was going to be like one session or two, but it's been a couple of weeks now, so maybe 4 or 5 sessions. But what are your goals, Mr. Alec?
I'd like as far as like where you want to go, or
Yeah,
just like
what
what you
are
want.
your short-term goals and what are your long-term goals in pro wrestling?
Like this next year and a half, I want to just get like booked more. Like that's one thing I was like slacking on was getting out more. Like reaching out to other like promoters and stuff. But just getting like out of my comfort zone more. Short term wise, traveling more. But long term, I don't know. Just to do it as long as I can. At the highest
Well,
level is good.
you got to have a long-term goal. Maybe you're just embarrassed to say it. Like, what's your goal?
No,
Like,
no,
you didn't start this to be on the indie circuit, right? So what the fuck's your
yeah,
goal? Like, speak it
yeah,
out in the universe. Put it out in the universe. What's your
yeah.
goal?
WWE is obviously like my number. Like that was always what I wanted to do. And it was always to be champion. I always wanted to be WWE champion. That'll be like the number one thing, like long term goal.
That'll be the pinnacle.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be
Well,
like, okay, I did it.
okay. So let's start on the first short-term goal where you're saying you want to, right? You want to book more, and a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
answers are right. To me, at least, are becoming repetitive. But let's start with networking first. Right? There's really nowhere to work right now. There are some places. But there's not a variety. But what we can do right now is start networking, even sending out highlight videos, for your consideration. Going into, I understand no one's running shows, no one's booking, but I just want to throw this out there. And you just really want to make that connection and network with all different types of wrestling promoters, shows, wrestlers, even asking advice from different wrestlers that you may look up to and stuff like that. Is going to help you out. But the main thing is the networking. You might network and connect with somebody, that isn't a wrestler, but they might be able to get you booked somewhere. They might be able to put your name out there or whatever the case is. So I think it's just so important to reach out, network, and then also get used to sending out your digital resume if you haven't already. You know what I mean? 8x10, couple of pictures, right? Standoff pictures, maybe an action shot if you want. I don't know if that's that necessary. I would say probably a 30-second highlight, maybe a minute and 30-second highlight. So you got two, and then put on a short match, right? Like going back to the WCW Saturday night 5-minute type match, so someone can see something from finish to end in 5 minutes, right? You go a little longer, you have it ready for when they say, hey, I want to see some more. Then you show them a little bit longer match, but yeah, definitely I want you to start with the networking, and then also, like, right at the same time that you're doing networking, how are your promos coming along?
Promos, yeah, I was gonna do the whole like had a handsome thing, kind of like a weekly thing where I do like give like little tips about like I was gonna like do your eyebrows or something, something like that.
So what
And
happened, my friend?
I don't know, everything. It's just like something always comes up. I'll probably eventually I'll do it, but it's just like I have to figure out like because if I'm gonna do it once a week, I have to have something like every week, have an idea of like already what I'm gonna do. Like I feel like I'll have like maybe 2 episodes, 3
Okay,
episodes,
so you got 2 episodes in the can, so that gives you 2 weeks to figure out 2 more episodes. That shouldn't be a problem.
Write them out, man. Write them out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, my
You be
friend.
a writer and a producer, brother.
I'll get to it.
Writer
Yes.
and produce your own shit right now.
I mean, we used to do a show called XPW out here in Los Angeles, and we went about 6 months without a show. I have no clue why. The guy was a porn director or a porn distributor. I don't know if we lost money. I don't know or that we couldn't get a venue. I have no fucking clue why we didn't wrestle for 6 fucking months, but we still had television on KJLA. And man, we rarely wrote shit down. We just fucking went out there and did it. Hey, this would be cool. Hey, you know what would be cool? Would be this. So, I mean, man, I listen to Gary Vee all the time, and he always says that he says what you're saying. What people always do this, like, I got to get this perfect. I don't want to just get too down, man. Just do it. Put yourself under a little bit of pressure, and then maybe the third episode's not going to be that long. But man, the more you keep doing it, once you get started, it starts rolling. Hey, and then you're going to have, you know, the Handsome TV show, but it's going to evolve to something else possibly, you know. So you don't always have to stick with that. But I would say if you think in your head you got about two locked up, I would go ahead and knock those 2 out of the ballpark. Hey. Who says it's got to be once a week? Dude, do it bi-weekly. You know what I mean? That covers a month. Now you got a month to figure out the next. Or I don't really want to keep doing this, but you should. And, you know, you got to get your name out there. It's the only way people are going to know who the fuck you are, you know, especially right now. When you have an opportunity to go to shows. So.
Hey, and you owe me a promo, so you got to be working on that.
I know. That's what other thing I was gonna do, like something similar to like what I was gonna submit for the promo. So now I gotta figure out which one's gonna be which, you know.
Well, then do it. We'll write another one.
Yeah. Way to jail, bro. You got way more excuses than a dude on the way to jail.
Fuck. Hey, why don't you do the promo for Ruby, and then make that your episode number 1, man? Yeah, the behind the scenes or something. I mean,
would that be okay to do that, or okay? Because I don't want to like post it and then it goes up on the Up All Night thing. If I don't want it to be like repetitive, you know.
Hey.
Yeah, but you're looking at 2 different social media channels. You're looking at Up All Night, where Santino Brothers is going to put it out with the Up All Night package, but then you also have your own social media distribution, so you also need to populate that. And there's so many times where that's like me saying that, oh, well, I wrestled for Santino Brothers and they recorded my match, so there's no need for me to put it up on my channel. Yes, there is a need to put it up on my channel. I recorded it myself, and I'm going to put it up on my channel too. You're looking at double distribution, double the eyes on you, so I don't know why you would want to do that.
Yeah. Definitely take advantage, man. And I think you're way more creative than to be like, I only got that one, man. I think you can come up with more. I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah. Once I put the first one, I'll know like what I want, you know.
I think you're only telling us 2, but you probably got about 5 in the can in your head. But you're like, I'm not too sure about those other 3.
No, I don't. Honestly.
Well, hey, you just gotta get started, brother.
Yeah,
you just gotta get started. Don't touch the face.
I think once I get the first one out of the way, then I'll be fine. Like I'll be able to do it. It's just the first one, you know.
And it should be like current event, man. You got your mask on. You should have your COVID mask. You know what I mean? Like, something. Make it interesting. But honestly, understand that you're gonna do it. You're gonna come to a point where you're like, oh, this is bullshit. I don't want to keep doing this anymore. But just keep fucking pushing. You know what I mean? It comes to that little dry spell of like, this sucks. No one's watching. No one's paying attention. But when you start, you're like, hey, man, if I could just get X amount of people to watch, and at that point, they're already going to be watching. So continue to keep going. It'll grow. And then plus,
I want to suggest something that you suggested to me, Joey. Is just in your everyday life or whatever, laundry. Just do laundry as Handsome One, you know. Then everything you're making dinner or something, just do it as the Handsome One. And then you'll kind of have an idea how you sound in these different environments. That'll say, hey, man, I could do a video just doing, washing the dishes. You know what I mean? How's the Handsome One? You know, I mean, it'll just get your mindset in that character so that you can create scenarios where you just do that character. That's what I kind of took from something Joey told me a while ago.
Yeah.
You gotta, I mean, man, I'm already throwing them in my head. There's vignettes of you having like cucumbers on your face, having a mud, you know.
I was actually thinking of that with the cucumbers.
See what I'm saying, man? Hey, so you go into a store and they're like, hey, you can't come in here without a COVID mask. And you're like, I don't cover this face. You know what I mean? I mean, something. Yeah, something little. Like, it don't gotta be, right? Hey, and it don't gotta be epic and great. Just get started. Get started. Learn how to do it. Learn how to operate it. How does this character working? Because at the end of the day, maybe you do this whole fucking little YouTube series no one give a fuck about. You got no subscribers. You barely got any views. But at the end of the day, maybe you learned your character and how to operate it. You know?
Yeah, and then I also just want to get used to like talking, you know, in front of like as a promo. Like I could think it in my head, and then when I say it, it's like, oh shit, it's coming out. You know what I mean? Like I need to get used to that, you know.
I'm pretty sure we need to get a promo battle going on here on the Zoom. You know, we have Robby and Ruby and everybody do promo battles, and we'll see, you know, how the tournament goes. And but yeah, and I think that a lot of it is just throw his ass in the fucking pool and see if he sinks or swim, man. And it's like, hey, you're gonna sink a couple of times, right? We're gonna throw you the life raft, but you're gonna end up figuring it out. You know what I mean? I used to hang out with Mongo, and all of his buddies weren't wrestling fans. Mongo was the wrestling guy, and so he'd bring me along, and I had a lot of respect back in the day in XPW and all that, and he'd bring me around all these guys, and they'd bust my fucking balls all fucking day, and I wasn't used to it because I'd be like, hey man, I'm Kaos, don't disrespect me, you know what I mean? And they were just regular dudes. They were like, oh, you don't watch wrestling, bro. And so Mongo finally turns to me and he goes, hey man, this is how it is hanging out with this group. If you want to hang out, you better fucking strike back. So I got to the point of like, well, I know promos. So I just started hitting them back and hitting them back and hitting them back, and to the point they were like, hey, you play too much, man. You know what I mean? But I wasn't good at it at first. They would always nail me and bust my balls and this, that, and the other until I just started throwing it right back. And I think that's what you need to do. Even when you're going to fail in a promo battle, everything that was used against you, now you could pick it up and use it on somebody else, you know? And I think that's a lot of time what we and Robby do when we go in there and we give heat drills or beatdown day or stuff like that. It's beating you down, but it's giving you the idea and the roadmap on how to do this. You know what I mean? If you survive, obviously, right? If you survive the beatdown. But same thing for if you're getting verbally beat down in a promo, you know, getting beat down, it's just gonna start coming out. You're gonna say, man, this guy, and this guy, and this girl have fucking great one-liners, great endings, this, that, and the other, or a moniker. I need something, you know, and I think it'll finally hit you, and you'll definitely do it. But yeah, you have to. You got to practice it every day, man. Like you should be practicing it on people in your house to the point where they get annoyed. Like, shut up, Alec. Just be normal. You know what I mean? Like, really get that. Like, I would do that, and then I would, you know, go and do it by myself. But I would try to cut the promo, like where they would just try to talk to me normal, and I'd respond in character in promo. You know what I mean? But that's how we help ourselves to just let it roll off roll off our tongue without thinking about it. You know what I mean? Just letting our character flow. Same thing in the match, right? We don't have to. There's gonna come a point where you don't have to think about the spots. You just flow. You just start flowing. You know what comes next. There's heat. There's this. You know what I mean? There's comebacks. So same thing with a promo. And I mean, going back to it's so important. That promo, painting that picture, is really what's going to take you to the next level in wrestling. So you say your long-term goal is WWE, and then not only WWE, but you want to be WWE champion. What's that one? Is that the main belt?
Yeah,
that's the main one. That's not the old WCW looking belt.
No, yeah.
Okay, big gold or big.
They don't have it anymore. Yeah.
What do you mean they don't have it anymore?
Well, not on TV.
Really?
It's not like a
Oh, geez, you're right. It's the blue and red belt, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So, you want to be WWE champion, so you're gonna have to start working on those promos because that's what's gonna take you to that next level. Is the character, you know, the charisma. Man, is it talked enough in wrestling? I know character is really talked about, but charisma. That's all that was talked about in the 90s with me was charisma. What made Shawn Michaels so good? Oh, it's charisma, you know? And before they would even say character, we would always say charisma. I don't even think we talked about character or character development back then. We would always just talk about charisma. So it's so important. How do you get that charisma, right? You got to just have it, right? But how can you help yourself get it? Get comfortable in the ring. Get comfortable with your promos. Because then when you're comfortable in the ring, comfortable with the promos, then you can just let it, right? You let it all hang out. You know what I mean? You're not worried about, I need to know what to say. I need to know what spot to do. you know. So that's kind of my take on those goals. If you have anything to add, Robbie or Ruby, feel free to go ahead and add it to my man Alec. How's
No,
your...
yeah, it just goes down to that, just being comfortable, get comfortable with everything, everything about your character. Just be comfortable. That character is you. It came from you, so be comfortable with it, man.
How's your workouts been coming?
Really good,
Hey,
really good.
I knew you were gonna tell me the fucking that.
No, seriously. I haven't missed a
Bullshit.
single workout since
Let me
this
see the
whole thing
bicep. Let's see
started.
the bicep.
Nah,
Okay.
not even like
All right. It looks
just
all
the
right.
weights. Like I still do my cardio at least like 5-6 days, and then I'll do weights always every
What,
day.
you got weights at home? Have gyms opened up yet?
No, I have weights at home, but again, it's not
gyms.
like it's still home gym kind of setup, so it's it's limited. But I still do it every day, at least an hour and a half.
All right,
guys. I got a bunch of what Joey calls jailhouse workouts for you.
Oh, jeez. Hey, please hit Robbie up. I do my push-ups and squats, and Robbie would be like, I did my jailhouse workout in the hotel. And I'd be like, God damn it, Rob, why didn't you tell me? But yeah, hit Robbie up with those jailhouse workouts, man. It's so important. Stay the fucking shape. I'd probably recommend, not even for the COVID era, get an elevation mask. And work out with it, so that way when we come back to wrestling, because wrestling is a different beast than any cardio that we ever do, right? So when you come back to it, at least you've been wearing that elevation mask when you're doing jumping jacks or sprints or where the fuck your workouts are, and it's going to help you. Even if you're doing push-ups, put that elevation mask on. It costs about $40. But in the COVID world, I think that's an incredible investment, especially for wrestling. It's probably very smart to wear if you're going to go back to training. Everybody should have a fucking elevation mask on, for one, cardio, and then for two, just because of the world we live in. But get that mask, because wrestling sucks, man. Wrestling is going to fucking, brother, there's no cardio like it. There is no fucking cardio like it.
I know. When I was injured, I came back. Took like a month to get back in shape. So I know how it's gonna suck, but whatever,
Keep the workouts. Probably get an elevation mask. That probably goes for everybody. Get an elevation mask. It straps to or Velcros to you. They have all different kinds of them. But that's going to help you tremendously on the comeback. Because I always think you should probably use it anyway if you're trying to get your cardio up in wrestling. Because that's all of a sudden you're at Mile High or you're in Big Bear. You can just tweak it to what elevation you want it to. So I think that's probably an incredible tool to use. All right, Alec, good talking to you, my friend. You still at Home Depot?
Thank you. Yeah, for now.
Is it packed? Is it packed every day still?
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It's super busy. The line goes down the store.
Fuck, but you can't go to the park. Can't go to the park.
I know.
Go to Home Depot.
The last place still remaining, so everybody's there.
Oh, I know. I guess people got time.
Yeah.
All right. Good talking to you, brother. Stay safe at Home Depot.
You too, man.
Stay on it. Let's watch. I don't think I asked you. What are you watching right now? What's on your?
I was watching some old ECW too, late 90s, and then I was watching early 2000s stuff too. So I've been watching older stuff mostly.
Watch some
lately.
You got the network?
Yeah.
Watch some Doug Furnace.
Doug Furnace. What is that?
Doug Furnace, bro. That's his name.
I've never heard of him.
It's late. Maybe it's mid '90s ECW. But there's Doug Furnace versus Rob Van Dam. Doug Furnace versus Al Snow. He's wrestled everybody. He's an incredible dropkick. Arguably the best dropkick in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, check him out if you're checking out some ECW. Who else on ECW? Oh, what about the Italian guy, Rob? Who is that guy? He used to mess
Guido?
up his... No,
Guido?
the black guy. He was on the FBI though, but he would mess up his spots. Does anybody remember? Nobody remembers
his name. I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his name.
Stallion, JT Smith? JT, not Houston. I don't know. Oh man, he used to mess up his spots in ECW, so they made that his gimmick. His gimmick was he would go to the top rope and fall through a table. that became his gimmick. And he was doing some Italian thing. Maybe he was Italian. I don't know. Or maybe it was like wrestling heat, right? So I don't know. But yeah, he was with Tracy Smothers, Guido, all those guys. Probably before Guido got there, maybe. So let's see here. Did I lose everybody? I think I lost everybody. So. My internet went down. My internet went down. Oh, internet's back up. All right. All right. My friend, I almost disconnected it again. All right. Good talking to you, Mr. Alec. Mr. Cam Gates, are you there? Mr. Cam Gates. I see his picture.
Hello.
Oh, he's driving. All right.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. Can everybody else hear you? Yeah. I always look at Hyde first because Hyde will really tell you if we can hear you, man. All right. So, wait, what are you doing? You're going to work? What's going on? Where are you driving to?
I'm going. I had work earlier today. I worked in Santa Maria, and so since I was already halfway to Fresno, I'm just driving home now to go to my parents' house.
Where, in Fresno?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to Fresno for this weekend. I'm off this Friday, Saturday. Down on Monday to work again. I just started full-time work again this week, so it's my first week working all week long.
All right. You kind of cut out there a little bit for me. I don't know if it's my internet connection, but we'll see if we can get through this. So we've been talking about goals, short-term and long-term goals with everybody. So it's your turn. So what are some of your short-term goals, and then what's your long-term goal? And obviously, we're in the COVID world, so everything's stopped, everything's on hold, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. So what are some of your goals?
Short-term goals, like I kind of have too many. First of all, I just want to have a match. Besides all the COVID stuff that happened, I was already out before that for 6 months, dealing with my injuries. And then by the time that I was getting, literally everything shut down 2 weeks before I was supposed to have my first match back. So, the first thing, I just want to have a match. I've been working, flexibility, doing a lot of yoga because my flexibility is shit. And, I shit. And because my flexibility is shit, my kicks look like shit. And, I want to make all that things look better. I want to have more singles matches. I really only work singles at Santino's, but it would be, and I love tagging, but I would really like to get some more singles matches out there. There's just so many short ones that I have. YouTube channel. I want to get a YouTube channel going too. Yeah, but just to name a few.
All right. So let's start with social media. Do you have all the social medias? Do you have a link?
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah. Social media. I do have all of them. I'm on all of them. I'm not as active as I should be, or I don't post every day like I should be, which is another thing that I've been super trying to work on. And I'll be on it for 3 or 4 days, and then it just I get tired of it. It becomes a hassle, or I just I don't know. Don't have anything to say at that point.
So,
but yeah, social media definitely.
Do you have a TikTok? Do you have a LinkedIn or TikTok?
I do have a TikTok, but I'm low key insecure about it, so I don't really post it. I just whoever finds it, and then I haven't really put too much out on that. But I do have one, yes.
All right, so let's get those social medias going, right? Let's what we're talking about to Alec. Let's just start producing. Start putting posts out there. Hey, you said you want to get that YouTube channel started. Start that YouTube channel. Just start talking about Cam Gates, because that's what the YouTube channel is going to be, And so if people are interested in what you're talking about, then they're going to subscribe and they're going to engage with you. So we don't have to be perfect. I film everything pretty much, man, with my phone. Everything's with my phones, because it's if I had to, whenever I had to I have nice cameras, but whenever I had to pull out the nice cameras, to me, it was just too much fucking work. I like to just have the phone, boom, film it, boom, upload it right there from the phone because it's connected to internet, and call it a day. So let's get started on doing, good, bad, and ugly. Whether it's great content, terrible content, good content, whatever it is, let's just start it. Let's get it out there, right? When we do our first match, 5 years later, when we watch that match and Kaos reposts that match somewhere, the wrestler will never usually share it because they cringe when they watch that first match. So let's just get started, right? If it's terrible, it's terrible, right? And it should be terrible from how you are going to be doing it in 2 years from now, a month from now, whatever the case is, a year from now. It should get better a year from now. You know what I mean? We should always be improving and evolving. As long as we're better today than we were yesterday, then we're on our way, right? So let's utilize that in our YouTube, creating a page. What you're going to create the page about? Just make it a vlog to start. Just talk, man. This is Cam. What did you do today, right? You wrote it in a diary. Now we're just going to do a daily vlog instead. See where it goes. People will start asking questions. You'll kind of determine and find what's the best avenue to take it. So let's just get started. You should and start taking all your matches, especially with Santino brothers, because I don't mind it, and chopping them up. Chop up, make GIFs out of them, make 15-second videos, 45-second videos out of spots in your match, entranceway, and then the most important one is probably a highlight reel. You know what I mean? Making a highlight reel and doing it yourself. Really, we can get even free apps. And that's how I always start out. That's how they get you, right? With everything, I always start with a free app, and then they go, "Hey, for $5 more, you could do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, give me couple more functions." But I always start my editing with just a free app. So, and then if you want to get better at it, it's now you're never at the mercy of waiting for anybody to do anything for you. You can just do it. So that's what's really going to help you out. So let's just get started, and hey, whether it's a vlog, just doing it, and then even if you do a 10-minute vlog, man, then you could trim that down. You know what I mean? Trim that down to 45 seconds for Instagram, 2 minutes for for Twitter, stuff like that. Put something on Facebook to link them to your YouTube channel. So all that's going to help, right? Engaging with their fans that are all around the world. It's so important because you never know, man. You got people watching in India. Next thing you know, you'll have a fan base there, and you could probably try to reach out to promotions in India to wrestle out there, and you'll be wrestling 50,000 people. So, but yeah, let's get that. And then workouts. How old are you, Cam?
I just turned 23 this month.
So, I mean, right. Well, I was even going to mention this to Alec, right? Like, you guys are young. So you guys kind of have that, what we call like no form of your body, like baby fat. And then what happens is if you work out for 20 fucking years doing the bicep curls, it really shapes your arm and body to where you could be like me and not work out and it's still formed. You know what I mean? That's what wrestlers do. So that's what I need you to do, is really get those reps in to now start forming your body, right? So let's be honest. We want a bigger chest. We want bigger shoulders. We want bigger arms. Obviously, if we can be abbed up, we want to be abbed up. We want a bigger back, right? For one, it's going to make you look tremendously better. And then for two, it's going to put that armor on. And the reason I bring this up is because when Mongo came back around, I think somewhere the end of last year, came back around, and he was like, "Who's this Cam Gates guy?" And then he would go, "Why the fuck does Cam Gates have the submission title?" And I'll be like, "Oh man, he's really exciting and good." And he would just look at you and be like, "Look at him, he's a skinny." You know what I mean? And that's like his first impression without seeing you wrestle, right? So taking for granted that I watched you wrestle, and so I'm watching you wrestle with Doug, and saying, "Hey, this guy should earn a title shot and earn the title or whatnot." But from the outside looking in, when Mongo looked at you, he said, "Oh, I see this guy who's really pale, really skinny, doesn't have a good gear, doesn't have good shape." And so we'll want to talk about that also. Like the shorts, just my preference, straight out of Compton, man. Like, I never dug shorts. I've never dug, like, even when Supreme started wearing the shorts and the t-shirt, that wasn't my, I like when he had the singlet on, So I would try to look towards Getting some tights, I think would work really well. But when you get tights, I would think like, man, you got to think as creative as Darewolf. What's his name? His name is Darewolf, but what's his other name? Justin Gabriel?
Yeah, PJ Hawk.
Okay.
PJ Black.
There you go. What's that? But yeah, like his gear is very it's incredible. Like it's not just, what color tights with a logo on it, man. The whole thing is like designed. I would say he probably got it from some lucha maker. I think Matt Hardy had some really cool tights in 2009. I think Will Ospreay has some really cool tights. So I mean, that's where I personally would go. I think that you would go a long way, and I think maybe even Robby can speak on this because we used to give Robby a lot of shit, and he used to have the pleather pants. Or pleather shorts and pleather pants, and we used to be like, man, you need to get gear and you need to do this, and Robby, why don't you speak on it? I remember you used to did I lose them again? Jesus Christ. Jesus.
You sound like you're Donkey Kong when you're talking.
I'm freaking driving through the middle of nowhere, dude. I'm like on a bumpy ass road. So I got trying to talk into a fan on a roller coaster.
Like every time you talk, I hear like Donkey Kong soundtrack.
Hey Robby, I wanted you to speak to him before I got cut off. I don't know how much I was talking, but I was talking about his gear, about getting better gear.
I heard all that.
Yeah, and then so I wanted to, Robby, because we used to bust Robby's balls relentlessly because he used to wear pleather pants and pleather shorts. And we used to put, hey, you should get gear because, like, in my head, hey, a wrestler should look like this, but maybe you should tell that story a little bit, Rob. Is like, I remember, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but when you wore the tights, you were like, I like these tights a lot better. Why don't you talk about it from transitioning from shorts or baggy pants to tights?
Yeah, so back when I came out, the pleather fucking baggy pants were the thing. Especially back when I came in, and they knew I trained at XPW. They didn't let me wrestle. They were like, "Hey man, we got this hardcore spot for you." I'm like, "Dude, but I want to wrestle." Like my guys like Carnage and Andre can do all that shit, but I want to wrestle. And they're like, "Well, this is the spot we have." So I was like, "All right, well, fuck. I don't want to fuck up my gear, so I, use my fucking trash bags." But I just kept wanting to wrestle, and wearing those baggy pants was fucking hot. So then I went to pleather shorts, wasn't any better because it was still fucking hot. And that's where, when Joey would give me shit, he's like, "Man, why are you wearing that? Get some gear." And I was like, yeah, and I've always wanted to wear tights. I always have. What I was doing at the time, I didn't see I should use them. But once I started getting a chance to wrestle and I got those tights, oh my God, I could breathe better, move better. I felt lighter. It was fun. It was really fun, and I started getting tights after that, and it felt really good. They didn't stick to me when I was done. My tights came off and oh my God, they felt good. I was able to breathe, and it goes now to the tights, the shorts now. I want to go back to tights because, fuck, I'm getting old. But like even the shorts now, it's like I'm able to move more. And I remember telling Joey when I when I was doing that, I was like, and even times too when we had to do some stuff and Joey gave me some trunks to wear. I'd get up and I'd wear the trunks and, I would, of course I played up. Yeah, fuck, I'm this guy now. I got the trunks on. And Joey would look at me like, "Hey, dude, why aren't you wearing trunks?" I'm like, "Oh, man, now you're just busting my balls again." And he's like, "No, why aren't you wearing trunks? Dude, they don't look bad. Look at this." And he would take a picture and he would show me. And I'd be like, it doesn't look bad. But I still saw that insecurity of me. I'm like, man, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And, that was the same thing with tights and everything. I didn't feel I was ready. Joey was like, "No, man. You're going to see the difference." And it was a big difference.
There's always going to be, the exception, but personally me, I think the tights look, I guess, this is traditional. I think it looks a lot better. But at the same time, let's look. at Kevin Owens is fucking super power bombing fucking John Cena and beating him for the title with shorts and a t-shirt on. So, you know, this is, like I said, this is just my take and what I like. And then what I also want to just kind of throw across when Mongo came back and didn't know anything about Cam Gates and what he saw and was like, hey, just from the visual, Mongo's already canceling you out. Just from the visual, you know? Not saying that once he sees you wrestle, he might change his mind, but just from first glance, right? Like, we know 5 seconds whether we're going to book this guy or not. Within the first 5 seconds as a promoter, you know that this guy looks memorable. Goes back to being memorable in pro wrestling. So that's my take on that. I would definitely look into also getting some boots. I think boots would be really good. And then, you know, weighing the options, you know, because I think, hey, if you like wearing kick pads, that's cool. Have a pair of boots for when you break a toe, you hurt your ankle, whatever the case is, and you still are going to wrestle, right? First thing, you shouldn't be wrestling if you get a broken toe or hurt ankle, but a lot of the times we will because we don't want to lose our spot. You know, it's so important. We work so hard for it. So I think that that'll definitely help you out, you know. So
Hey, Coach.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to throw this out to anybody who is willing to give me a chance. I've worked in the garment industry for the last 10 years, and I'd be happy to – I'd love to learn how to make wrestling gear, and I have some sewers that I've worked with for years. So this is a pressure on you, Cam. It's just – it goes out for anybody. I won't charge them. I want to learn. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'd love to learn how to make gear and work with the guys to, you know, just learn about it. So feel free to reach out to me. I have resources, and I'd be happy to help anybody. So just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I mean, I might be calling upon you for that because we always have students. They don't know where to go get gear,
Yep.
and then sometimes they go to the gear makers, and man, I find out later, like, oh my God, this motherfucker raised them for all this money, you know. So.
I have screen printers as well out here. So I mean,
Okay.
I know you want to. I think it's important for people to learn how to do that too, because I know you've said to have another skill set outside. I'm happy to help people with that too. So wherever I can help, I know I'm new, and a lot of you don't know me, but I'd be happy to help. You know, wherever you guys need. So.
Yeah, that'd be great. You know, I got tights and trunks and shorts that you can cut apart and use it as a pattern or something like that to kind of help you if you know, just to, hey, here's a pair of trunks. This is probably the pattern that they'll always be made on, and you know, so I can definitely do that, and yeah, definitely be very interested in that because we always got a lot of people looking to make some gear. You know, maybe we can make a website.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, Mr. Cam Gates. I think we talked about the short terms, right? Long term was right. Oh, okay, you want to wrestle a match, right? So you're staying in shape, obviously. And then what was your long term goal?
My long term goal has always been I don't really care where it is. I just kind of want to be able to quit my job and not I fucking hate working, and that's what I want to do. I just want to be able to live off of wrestling and you know, be able to do that and do that only, and give that all my attention. Right now it's you know, obviously I can't do that. I'm still working. I'm sure a lot of people are, but I guess more attention on it. But I just feel that's basically. I just want to be able to quit my job and just do wrestling.
I'm gonna tell you, up your goal. You'll be surprised. Probably sooner than later, you'll be able to make a living without working a regular job. You know, you'll get to that goal. You'll conquer it quicker than you think, and then it's not what you actually thought it was all cracked up to be. Because I'm talking from experience. That what you just told me right now, hey, listen, man, because I didn't get into wrestling ever saying I want to be a Hall of Famer or wrestle for WWE. I thought that was you had to go to WWE college or something. I didn't know how it worked. We went in and did just did wrestling matches because we had access to a ring. Never expected to someone turn our video in and then get booked on a real indie show. You know, so when I got into wrestling, I was like, man, this is really cool. So if I could just, man, make a living off of pro wrestling, man, that's, and I don't have to work my regular job, that's great. That's it. And then fast forward to 2012, I actually was able to do that, and a little heartbroken, a little sunken, like, man, I don't, okay, and this is the other thing I say, like, why didn't I do anything in wrestling with my wrestling career? And I say, well, because, Joey, you were an underachiever. Your goal was just to make a living in wrestling. So I don't want you to underachieve like that, or even Milo to underachieve like that. I want you guys to shoot for the moon. Shoot for the moon. Go for the WWE Hall of Famer, and maybe you end up becoming an AEW Hall of Famer or a Ring of Honor Hall of Famer or whatever the case is. Shoot for the fucking moon, because when you set that underachieving goal, and I'm not saying it's underachieving, but just, man, I'm gonna say go bigger, because like, it just, when you were saying that, it really felt like I was talking to myself 20 years ago, you know. And so I would definitely shoot for that fucking moon, because you will get to that area where you're going to be able to quit your job sooner than later. And, you know, and I get it. You're like, but still, I would love that, but I don't want you to get there and then be in an underachieved situation. You know what I mean? Keep those goals pushing and harder and harder and harder. Yeah. Smash that goal. I want you to smash that goal all the way through a contract. You know what I mean? So that's just my take on that. And I always, when somebody said, they never called me an underachiever, they say, actually, we're talking about some other wrestler about being an underachiever. And it just, the light bulb went off in my head. And it was, you didn't push hard enough. You didn't, you know, you weren't cutthroat or trying to get the bookings that you needed to try to get. Like, I would wait. Like, people would just, whatever I did in wrestling, people called me for it. I never really reached out. And that's a travesty, because imagine if I did reach out, because I did some good stuff, especially in the early 2000s. But if I would have reached out a lot more, I would have done a lot more. You know what I mean? So that's just where I want you to be, because I have no doubt that you're going to be able to make a regular, and even Milo, to make a regular living off of pro wrestling, where you don't have to have a day job. But I feel that it's still going to be hard work at the end of the day. Everything becomes a job, you know. But I want you to shoot for that moon. And make it even higher. Hey, make that a certain goal on the road to your main goal. You know, that's what I'd like to see. You know, make that one of the little goals on the road to it. So, because it's no doubt, like when I see you guys all come out in wrestling school and stuff like that, you guys are wrestling everywhere, man. So many different places, and it's awesome to see. And I just see that you know, the training and the education, which is not just coming from me and Robby, but right, we say it's like we're only as strong as our weakest link, and it's everybody. There's Ruby there, and Jake was always there, and Brody was there before we closed down on COVID. But it's just everybody there to really helping us achieve and get better. So I definitely have no doubt that you're gonna smash that first goal. So I definitely need both of you guys to make a higher goal than that. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, Cam Gates. Good talking to you, my friend. Let's see here. All right. Did we get to everybody? As far as the I'm trying to open up my full page here to see everybody. Did we get to everybody? Did I miss anybody? I guess is what I'm gonna say. Okay, I got 19 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 10, 15. Okay, so everybody's here. All right, so I know that there's probably guys like Ozzy, and I'll just probably take them and do a one-on-one with them. And then same thing for you guys. I do my best to try to get it, but if you guys ever just want a one-on-one to talk to me, or even I would say, hey, talk to Robby, see if he's got time for you guys. But definitely for me, I'll have time. I'll make time. Sometimes I'll have to cancel and make it the next day, but I do my best to try to get it in there to talk to you guys if you guys just want to do it on a one-on-one basis. So we can definitely go ahead and do that. All right, we talked about what wrestling matches to watch. I would definitely check out that WCW Saturday Night. And then I also, let's see here. I have these things that I write down all the time. I write down all these pro wrestling tips, just everything throughout the years. And I kind of wanted to maybe not go over all of them, but at least go over one of them per our training sessions online at least. And I think we kind of already talked a little bit about this. I always have my pro wrestling tip number one is boots and trunks. If you want to be treated like a pro, you gotta dress like a pro, you know. And hey, I get it. There's always the exception, right? We talked about Kevin Owens. But right, I think that this is Kevin Owens is very incredibly special. He's great on the mic. So I think he doesn't have to have the wrestling gear on. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you're lacking a little bit, hey, every little bit's going to help. So if you get wrestling gear, it's definitely going to help you out. I always tell people to get a pair of wrestling boots, throughout your career because it's so important to I think wrestling boots are, it's a tradition in pro wrestling. Even if you don't wear them, you should at least have them. And also what we talked to Cam Gates about was, right, they're going to protect your toes, your feet, your ankles, and your calves and give you the support you need after you bust yourself up wearing a pair of kick pads and some chucks. So I think it's just so important. And also it goes back to, if there's a guy, you still got these old timers here and these old schoolers that if you see kick pads, they already put you in a certain category. You know what I mean? The kick pad category. So if you have boots, it's a little bit, especially coming to new territories. Me, I'm a fucking mark for boots, man. I'm a fucking mark for boots. I look at Charlotte Flair's boots every time she wrestles, specifically for that, because I think she's always had great boots. I think she has way better boots than her dad ever did, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm a mark for boots, and I know there's other people that are. So that's always just kind of one of my pro wrestling tips, is just to get boots and trunks, especially when to start. Then you can get tights or something like that, and that'll really help you out. So I think, Robby, I think we already talked about this, right? We already talked about the gear and stuff. But that's just one of my my main tips. And I think that when I was watching this WCW Saturday night, just really want to emphasize about when we get in this ring, man, like gotta be tough, man. It's so important because it's like an eye opener when I'm watching Vader. It's like, whoa, this is way different than stuff that looks very choreographed, and I think that's what we want to stay away as wrestlers. And that's where that sacrifice comes in, right? There's all different kinds of sacrifice in pro wrestling, right? I sacrifice where I live. I sacrifice where I work, sacrifice all this. There's also sacrificing sometimes your well-being for the sake of pro wrestling, right? And that is just some old school ass fucking shit to say. But that's what I grew up in the mid-90s, was that, like, really protecting the business. Now, if you ask me for my advice, Coach Kaos, Wrestler Chaos is going to tell you that, but Coach Chaos is going to tell you, man, you ever get hurt, get the fuck out of the ring and go under the ring until they can end the match and stop it, and you can get help. Because it's just, there's like two different worlds that I've grown up in now. As I get older, I get more concerned. As I was younger, I would beat the shit out of people, without thinking twice. But I think that's why we always try to add in there about how tough you got to be, so that way it doesn't shell shock you when someone gives you a fucking lariat from hell and you're like, whoa, this guy's taking liberties on me. No, I always had the mentality of, you can't break me. You know what I mean? That was always, and I even heard Eli say that, like, no one could break me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you got to have that toughness and that grit involved in it. So I think that's just, that's so important. So, since we finished with everybody, does anybody have any questions just in general on pro wrestling, or even Robby or Ruby, anything that you guys want to add? Even Dom, I think I seen Dom came back into the board. Anything you guys want to add to the session today?
There was something that I did want to add, and it was something that came up several times as we've been going over goals and we've been talking about social media and things of the like. Obviously, the importance of having each social media that is out there to put out your content and to distribute. I would also say during this time, since we're all home, most of us are home, you should take it a step further and go ahead and build your pro wrestling website for yourself. And on that website, this is where you're going to put everything from matches, blogs, vignettes, photos. You could do your electronic resume, put it up there, put it under a private link for promoters to see. You could put, importantly too, is your online store, make an online store or link your online store, as well as a contact box, because there's been times where people look me up and they'll find my website, it comes up, and I've gotten bookings, or I've gotten interviews, or I've gotten even entertainment opportunities because they can find my website and they find an easy way to contact me. So I think this is very important. If you go through and you look at people like Lufisto, Cheerleader Melissa, like all these people, everybody has a website where you can be easily found, and it's basically like your hub. And so since we're all home right now, and there's so many easy free websites to make one out of, so I don't think that should be a problem for any of us. I think that's something we all should be doing if you don't have it already.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great point, Ruby, because I think a lot of wrestlers, a lot of people, and I'm even guilty of this sometimes, is we look at our social media as the hub. And we've all seen somebody post some stupid shit or post a naked picture or wherever the fuck they're posting, and all of a sudden they ain't got a Twitter no more, or not Twitter, but Instagram or Facebook. That usually happens, and it's gone. You know what I mean? I've seen Twitters, it's gone. Your Twitter's gone. All your followers gone. And so if you have that website, it's going to make it so much easier for you, because when we try to focus on that Twitter as your hub, what Mongo would always say is like, that's twitter.com. That's not rubyrays.com. You know what I mean? That's somebody's website. And then Mongo would always say also, you're giving somebody else's website clicks. He'd always say that. So then we talk about, I wanted to ask you, Ruby, are you doing SEO links on your website? Do you know about SEO?
I've had my website for a couple of years, and then just recently I've been talking to Steve from SoCal Uncensored about SEO, because for as much as I did in consumer psychology at school, that's one of the topics that I never got to go over. So that's something that I need to learn and I need to be working on right now myself.
Yeah, I mean, because you talked about how like just getting booked for movie gigs or anything like that, they find your website, right? I can see that. If I'm looking to book a female wrestler or whatever the case is, I'm going to type it into Google. Necessarily somebody's Twitter is not going to come up, because that feed is so long and there's really nowhere. Like MySpace days was really cool because you could actually put your video up, and this, like Facebook and Twitter, they don't really let you do that besides have one picture. When you have that hub and that SEO links, when you go to Google, they're going to take you straight to, hey, book a pro wrestler. So if you got a TV show trying to book a pro wrestler, that's what they're going to type in, book a pro wrestler. And if your SEO links are great on your website, because they're necessarily not going to be great on Twitter, you know what I mean? Because you can't do the SEO necessarily, you do hashtags. But if your SEO is great, you're going to come up in the search. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so important. And right, what is SEO, search engine optimization? Oh my God, fuck that shit, right? Learn it. It's not too hard. It's keywords. You know what I mean? That's really all it really comes down to, is the keywords that you're using, negative keywords, stuff like that. And if you don't know, go to your Google account. Everybody has a Google account, right? And they actually have Google Analytics that you can look into, and they'll probably teach you. And right, YouTube is incredible. We got to use YouTube to help us learn, because there's so many people putting stuff up on there. But yeah, that is so important. Go ahead, Ruby. I'm sorry.
There's like I was saying, and I wrote in the chat right here. I don't know if you can see the chat, but all these things that you have, your social media. So you have your Twitter, your YouTube, your Facebook, your Instagram. It should all link you back to the website. Like, there should be a rabbit hole where they can follow you and they can get back to your website every time. And this one, like I said, this is going to be your hub, and this is where you want like the breadth of information about you and how to contact you and all this and that. And it's an easy theory. It's just implementing it, and that's what you got to do. And if anybody has any questions about that, or if you ever want help with that sort of strategy, I'm open.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy, guys. It's go to WordPress, then they start giving you templates to work from. You just change the pictures they have there. And then what I've learned on my website, like whatever you can think of, like what do you want your website to do? I want my website to have digital downloads. Then you look into, hey, you add things to your website just like you add an app to your phone. You know what I mean? And it's going to help you do whatever you want to do. I need a search. I need a contact box, or I need something whatever you could think of. I seen this cool thing on somebody's website. I want to put it on mine. You can always look for what do they call it? I think at least on WordPress
They're
they call it,
plugins.
what's that?
They're plugins.
Yes, plugins. I was gonna call them add-ons. Yeah,
No,
yeah, definitely plugins. It's pretty simple. Oh my god, it's so simple. It looks confusing. It's like looking at the IKEA directions to put the shelf together. It looks confusing, but it really, really isn't. You know, it's just takes a little concentration. You know.
And the plugins tell you guys everything you need to know. They'll tell you how to copy the code from Google Analytics or whatever. It's all very well done. I've been using WordPress for probably 10 years and Joomla before that for 15. This stuff's fantastic. It's very user friendly, like Joey and Ruby is saying. You guys can do this.
So Mr. Take that guy out. But yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I'm like flabbergasted that I don't promote that enough, because that's Mongo would be slapping me right now. Website is so important. Thank you, Ruby, for bringing that up, because it is your hub. On your Twitter, you don't have an about me. On your Facebook, you don't have an about me. Like MySpace, they let you have an about me for you. But these social media, Instagram, no, you got a link. You got one link. Where's that link going to go? To your fucking website. That's where it's going to go. You know what I mean? So yeah, you want an about me, book me, because when somebody's just looking to book a wrestler, man, you'll come up on the search engine. It's not just who you know what I mean? Sometimes people are just looking it up. So I think that's a great point, and get on it. And I'm almost certain, Pete, WordPress is free, right? Unless you want any more add-ons or something like that.
Yeah, and you can buy what you want and crank it up or down as you want it. So everything's free. Start with free.
Yeah, start with free, and just like the editing, if you want more, then just pay a little bit more, but it's going to help you a long way. Especially when you get your Twitter shut down for putting your nudes up there. You know what I mean? So,
there's also, there's also and I put right here, I use Weebly.com, which is super, super easy to build your website off there and build pages off of there. And once you get that going, I would even go a step further and say grab a domain name while you're at it, because you don't want it to be like razorpops.weebly.com. No, you're just looking at that razorpops.com. Like, it's all perception, like Joey was saying. You make it look professional if you perceive it as professional.
Yeah, and the domain names are $10. So if you go to a free website like WordPress or Weebly, you're probably paying $10 for your domain name, unless it's a sought after one. So, but yeah, let's definitely get a website, get it going. More than your social media, because that's somebody else's website, that's somebody else's clicks, that's somebody else's links. So I think that's so important. I also wanted to talk a little bit about. This is just kind of going down on my pro wrestling tips. I wanted to talk about the ability to take criticism and then learn to differentiate between constructive criticism and blatant negativity. Anybody says you had a bad match, first thing that comes to our mind is fuck that guy. You know what I mean? It really does, at least for me, but I think we really, so after you say fuck that guy, let's come back and let's think about what they said, and how and if it does need improving, because right, we're our biggest critics. So we have to not just say fuck you to that guy, because then we're never going to get better. We're not listening to anyone. No one can tell us nothing, right? And we're just doing our own thing. Hey, you might not like the person, but look what they're saying to you, and try to figure out, right, is this just straight up negativity, or is this person really trying to help you? A lot of the times it comes off as fuck this guy. It really does. But I think it's so important to learn the difference between that, because I always say, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, like, I've never had a veteran give me shit fucking advice. I've never had a veteran give me shit fucking advice. And if they have, I learned, this is where I come to that other part of learning, that is learn to take this person's advice, this veteran's advice, put it in your back pocket, not to judge it until you fall into that situation, and then understand if you need it or not. You know what I mean? And I think that's so important, because a lot of the times I would say, why the fuck is this guy telling me to do this? That's fucking bullshit, right? And then 3 years later, 5 years later, whatever years later, even up to 20 years later, light bulb would go off in my head, and I'd go, damn, I finally get it. Like, this is why they're telling me to do it this way. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times those light bulbs go off in training, and I think Robby could talk about that too, about how, what you thought was garbage or stupid or even maybe doing too much cardio, fuck that bullshit, but now we do it and we're like, yeah, everybody needs cardio because we can't wrestle a match without cardio. You know what I mean? So always be able to take that vet's criticism, put it in your back pocket, right? Listen to what the fuck they say, right? After you got all your hates and your fuck you to this guy, go back and revisit it. Pick it apart. Go back and watch your match. See what the fuck they're saying. Match it up. Do they have merit? Yeah, they do, and we hate to admit it. We won't admit it in public. A lot of times we won't admit it in public, but we'll admit it. Like, my grandpa would always say, "Why are you setting yourself up for him to land on you?" And I go, "Grandpa, you're not supposed to look at that. You're supposed to look at me going to the barbed wire." But it always stuck with me because listen to what they're saying, because
I didn't mean it. Like you had a shitty match. This is what I meant. Sorry about that. Then they understood and they kind of took it. And now I kind of learned how maybe I shouldn't come out and say, "Hey, that was dog shit," but check it out. This is what happened, man. Could have been better right here. You could have done this instead. Or what were you thinking there? What were you thinking here just to help out, But yeah, sometimes you're going to get that. You're going to walk to the back and someone's going to say, "Good job. But let me talk to you after you cool down." And then you're gonna get the other guy who's the old guy sitting there with a towel over his head, and he said, "Man, that was dog shit. I don't know what you were doing out there." And it's gonna bring you down. You're gonna be like, "Fuck, was it really dog shit?" And then like Joey said, you go sit down, take your breath, cool down. Pull your knee pads off, catch your breath, wipe down, maybe drink some water. And then get up and go talk to the first guy who said, "Hey, man, good job, but let me talk to you." Talk to that guy. And then go, talk to the guy who said that was dog shit. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be like, "Look, man, it wasn't really dog shit, but it could have been, you could have done this, And then you're like, fuck, maybe you're right. Or you're like, fuck that guy still. And then, like Joey says, 10, 20 years later down the line, aha, that aha moment I always tell you guys about. Aha!
Robby and I have learned, give it to them straight. I remember telling Supreme, hey, can you critique Dom and Viva's match for me? Because I was getting ready for my match at the show. And he turned around, Supreme looked at me and he says, "You want to be brutally honest with them?" I said, "Fuck yeah!" They're going to get nothing out of fucking you cherry coating it for them. Brutally honest. I don't give a fuck if you hate me or not. I'm going to be brutally honest with you because I already got enough friends. Robby's my friend. Ruby's my friend. I don't need you guys as my friend. That's my mentality going in. Like, so if I hurt Hyde's feeling, hey, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I need you to get fucking better. And we've learned, both Robby and I have learned that that's kind of like the secret to our success here at Santino Brothers is just being brutally honest with everybody. Fuck sugarcoating it. Right? Fuck telling you what you did great. You know what you did great. You're a wrestling fan, right? No one yelled at you during this fucking 3 minutes, so you're doing great. When they fucking started yelling at you, that's when you need to pick it up. Yeah, brutally honest. And I've always found, I don't know, you guys tell me, I've always found the students appreciate it more than me saying, "Oh, it was great. Oh, everything you did was good." No, I like really breaking it down, right? Because everybody always has that pet peeve. You ask a veteran, "How was my match?" "Oh, it was good." I got a rebuttal for that though. Like sometimes the veteran will go like, "I've seen a lot of different fucking wrestling. I did not watch it, but I listened to it, and I didn't hear the fucking crowd shit on you. I heard the crowd go up and down, up and down. So it was great." So even when they say that, like I don't know, man. That's me 20 years later saying, "Fuck, I guess I understand you, asshole. I thought you were assholes." No, I mean, because I listen to matches. I can hear when a fucking match is terrible. I can hear it. I fucking can. I don't know if you guys can yet, but you will. But that's why I love being brutally honest. Why did you do this? Why didn't you wear this? Hey, coach, famous people say, "Is there anything I do good?" Yeah, you do a lot of fucking good, but this is what we need to work on right now. And it's helped you guys out or students out a lot better. And I think, like, the reason I'm saying it like this because I want you guys to pass that down. Be brutally honest with your teammates. Be brutally honest with anyone you're mentoring or training. It's or tell coach, hey, give it to me straight, man. Give it to me fucking straight. I want to hear it. What am I lacking? Oh, then I'll tell you. Fucking hide. You're too nice, man. You're too nice. You gotta be a little cutthroat, But and some other people, hey, you gotta have that fucking eye of the tiger. That's where pro wrestlers being tough comes in. So I think it's just being brutally honest is so important. And I think you guys should tell people, hey, give it to me straight. I want it all. Like, I'm not going to be offended because it's only going to fucking help you get better, right? Like when you say, oh, that was a great fucking moonsault. Great. He's going to do the great fucking moonsault again. Oh, that was a great fucking dive. Great. He's going to do another great dive again. But when you can say, hey, the setup to the fucking moonsault needs a little work. Oh, well, you just didn't like my moonsault? No, I want the fucking whole shit to be right. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to make the wrestlers a lot better. So, but learn to differentiate that from negativity. And usually, like I gotta say, sometimes it sounds fucking negative as fuck, but just being honest with you, because what the fuck? What do me and Robby get out of it if we bullshit you and tell you, oh yeah, keep going with your shitty fucking matches? Fuck no, like me and Robby are like fucking our names on you. You know what I mean? That's why we work so fucking hard to make you guys better. We don't. Like I've always said, like me and Robby don't get to go to Madison Square Garden or NXT or any of these cool fucking places all these wrestlers are going. Our students, we don't get any of that glory. You know what I mean? The glory is that we get to see you go there. You know what I mean? That all the hard work that we put in was not for nothing. You know what I mean? So that's why it's so important to be brutally honest in that sense. And then that's even on not just wrestling, but everything. Man, I believe referees and production people and cameramen and whoever, like, you need to get fucking yelled at, man. I'm not a yeller at all, but I think sometimes, man, you need somebody to fucking yell in the fucking locker room and show the passion, see the vein pop out in their neck, straightens everybody up, quit fucking up my production. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's I like to have it all a happy-go-lucky situation at a show, but at the same time, we have a job to do, and I think there needs to be more yelling. So it's like I think Charlie Wu might have left, but yeah, I would love for him to be like to jump on people. Hey, it's got to be better, Not disrespecting people, but sometimes just showing the passion. And then what I like to tell people, I say I don't yell. I do yell sometimes, but when I do yell, I try to come back and say, hey, in the middle of our battle, I'm going to yell at you because there's no time to be nice. I got to say, get the fuck over here, get off your fucking ass, or wherever the fuck it is. And then I'll come back and say, that's just in the middle of battle. Like, I love you, man. The reason I talk to you like that is I put you in a position because I knew you could take it. So there's stuff like that. And then just earning respect goes a long way with just, being able to take those beatings, being able to take those scoldings, all of that, it really cut your teeth in pro wrestling and about who you are, and I think a lot of our students have seen it. I go into another school and I think a lot of promoters will say like, hey, I have my students, and every time there's a Santino crew there, they're always outdoing our own students at their own show, and I think that's because of the discipline that we implement. So important. You got to have discipline. That's why it's like, hey, we're not here, we're only doing 2 online classes a week. Like, you have to discipline yourself. I want to remember Wrestling with Shadows, the movie about Bret Hart and the Montreal screw job. I think maybe it was Beyond the Mat. I don't know, but I remember Stu Hart in the dungeon wrestling some big yoked up dudes, and he's just, show some discipline, kid. Show some discipline. And they're yelling, and he's just very calmly saying, show some discipline. And that's where it drilled into my head. They had the Hearts were really good because they fucking had discipline. So we need discipline. Show discipline. Yeah, I know it hurts, but fucking show some discipline. You know what I mean? Go through the pain a little bit. Wrestlers are tough. That's where it all comes through, So I think it's so important, to have that discipline, because you guys have to keep it, especially on now when we're not meeting in class. We don't have the class 3 days a week. I don't know, 12 or 18 hours a week or something like that. But it's so important to keep that discipline onto yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, when we wrestle and when we when we get out there, did I lose everybody? Maybe not. I think I'm still hanging on. But when we wrestle, no one's on your back. Robby's not on your back when you're wrestling on the fucking card. You know what I mean? When you're wrestling on the circuit, I'm not going to be there fucking on your back. So you got to have that discipline for yourself. It's so important. So that's my point. I know I get long-winded sometimes. So anything you want to add to that, Robby or Ruby?
No, I think you hit that one right on the head, boss man.
So, yeah, it's so important to have that discipline. So, unless we have any more questions, we might wrap it up. I know my internet's been going in and out, and I've been dropping out. Thank you, Robby, for backing it up there. Unless there's anything else anybody wants, if anybody has a question, let's go ahead and we can do some Q&A right now. But we have about 20 minutes left, or we can end it right here, just because I keep going out of sync on my internet. So, oh, you know what? Did you guys watch those Owen Hart matches from a couple of weeks ago? Everybody did? What did we have? We had the Hart Raw 96. Oh, Hart versus Hart, right? Great lockups, great wrestling, of course. Great aggression from Bret Hart. Man, I'm telling you, when you're new, watch these Bret Hart matches. I think even WCW Saturday Night, because they really break it down very perfectly to the formula that we teach. You know, it's so important. And then did anybody see Bret Hart giving face heat? Or maybe he was a face. Owen was always the heel. I guess only maybe WrestleMania 10, maybe? I don't know. I think Owen was always the heel. But did you guys see Bret Hart give the face heat? Did anybody catch that? I always think that's very fantastic. And I think Jesus Christ, I think Bret Hart's the only one I've ever seen do it. I've always mentioned a Hart Foundation. And then Owen was a heel, right, through his aggression, through his strikes, through his stomps, working the back. You know, he wasn't. This is that Raw match from November that I'm talking about. Like he wasn't. It wasn't just like cheap heat choking the guy. Like it was different wrestling, especially because of who they were. You know what I mean? But all those matches were so great. You always see something a little bit different. But I implore you guys to, if you haven't seen those Hart versus Hart matches from WWE, Bret versus Owen, watch them. And then let's start watching some of that WCW. Man, because every match that I see, they really just break it down. It's like Shine, fucking cut off, heat, come back, go home. Every single one. And I think, especially when we watch different people, like I've said it before, especially when we watch different people that give us different ideas. I've seen Ice Train on there. I really am digging Steve Austin. Yeah, I'm actually, he's out of the tag team now, and he's with Paul Heyman, and he's the TV. I think he's the TV title of the U.S. champion. So I'm really digging all that watching all that WCW Steve Austin. I don't think I ever watched any of it, so I think it's really really interesting to take a look. And there's a lot of good matches on there. You know, they seem like the throwaway matches. You know, because it's on WCW. I think there was Sting and Kane. Not the Kane that you guys are thinking. You guys know who Kane is? Does anybody know who Kane is from WCW? No. Booker T's brother, Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray. I don't know when they did that switch, but yeah, he was Kane from Harlem Heat. Yeah, he was Kane. Big motherfucking dude. Those guys are really good. But yeah, there's so many gems on there. You see Sting. You see Buddy Landell, Jimmy Garvin. There's just a lot of good wrestling out there to just kind of take a look at if you really want to get an idea of how to break down the match, and most important, call it in the ring. That's where the magic's going to be built, right? Then you could be like what Robby was saying. You could listen. Oh fuck! You guys are already calling for a power bomb. When you're thinking of the spots, you're not listening to the crowd. You know what I mean? It's really hard to hear the crowd when you're thinking of the spots. So I think that's so important. But yeah, let's get those matches watched. Let's watch some WCW Saturday Night, and let's hold ourselves accountable and show some discipline to ourselves by continually working out. Discipline on Alec and everybody that says I'm gonna. Let's just get started. Let's just do it. Make sure, hey, if it's terrible, it's fucking terrible. But just put it out there. So what? you know. So let's do that. Let's have the discipline. I can't. I really want to see like. I know gyms are fucking closed still, but I want to see your guys' bodies transform. I mean, it's been, what are we in, June? We're coming up on 3 fucking months. Like in that time, we should be able to see changed body forms, you know, whether you started eating better, you know, because I got to tell you, hey, you can say, hey, there's no weights, I can't get bigger. Whew, a lot of it is the diet, the diet, you know, and I got my best shape from doing diet, and me and Robby he would teach me the jailhouse workouts in the hotel, you know. So it's so important. Fix your diet up, get off the carbs. If you're not working out too much, right? Eat a salad. But let's show that discipline because, man, what is it? 12 weeks? 3 months is 12 weeks. Like, definitely should see incredible transformations, and I'm sure we are. It's usually going to be the other way. People getting out of shape. So I want to let's have that discipline, guys. So important. We can make every fucking excuse in the book about what, why. I don't have a gym. I don't do this, but whatever, dude. Get some fucking water bottles, some water jugs. Do figure it the fuck out, man. You know what I mean? Because your coach figured it the fuck out. I had to figure out how to fucking teach wrestling. You know, so please, I'm begging you, figure it the fuck out. It's not hard. You know, going back to Stu Hart, show that fucking discipline, right? It's easy to go fucking play a game or go scroll Twitter or go, you know, watch some videos on YouTube, man. Discipline. Remember why you started. Remember where you want to go, right? Remember remember where you started, remember where you want to go, and remember how you will get there, and know that you will get there. You know what I mean? But you got to have that game plan, right? Little goals on the way to your main goal. So let's get it together. Let's focus. Let's get this discipline down, guys, right? Because you got to fucking want it. I just saw a speech that I just said a year ago. You got to fucking, it's the same shit that I'm saying now. You got to fucking want it. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to fucking do it for you, man. They're actually going to work against you. So fucking put in the work. It's easy. It's an easy slogan to say, I'm putting in the work. I'm doing the work, whatever, man. Fucking do it, man. Just fucking do it. Hit those push-ups. Right? 200 push-ups and 400 sit-ups a day should be a bare minimum. Like almost we're disgusted that that's all you're doing is the bare minimum of 200 push-ups and 400 sit-ups a day, you know? So let's get on it.
I can't make you do it. You got to do it. Put in that work, guys.
Yeah, let's show. Yeah, all right. I keep going now. We'll end it. Unless you want to kick it over, Rob, you're all good. But yeah, let's show that fucking discipline. I can't do it fucking for you. I'm begging you. I'm fucking begging you. All your fucking goals, I want to see them all come fucking true. But it starts with you. You know what I mean? It starts with you. No one's gonna do it for you, right? I'll take your spot. I'll take your spot, Alec. I'll be WWE champion. You know what I mean? So if I put in that work, I'm gonna take it. I'm not gonna give you shit. No one's gonna give you shit, dude. No one owes you shit in fucking wrestling. Right? Get that shit out of your mind. I put up a ring, or I did this, or I trained for a year. No one owes you fucking a goddamn thing in the wrestling business. You get that fucking shit out of your head. Earn it. Show some discipline, guys. All right, before I get shot offline again, we'll end it. Robbie, you want to add anything, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Yes. All right, guys. Let's bring it in before I get shot. I know it's 15 minutes short, but we'll get it out here. All right, guys. Bring us out, Robbie. Bring us out.
Santino's on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Santino!
All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and then we'll get on some new subjects starting next week. See you guys Monday.